Come closer. The Hollow has something for you tonight. A story, not meant to be remembered, but found. In places the light forgets to reach. You stand at the end of a street that has no name. Your shoes crunch against scattered gravel, though you don't recall walking here. The houses are small, huddled, as if leaning away from the one before you. It is tall, too tall, and narrow like a coffin stood on end. No windows glow, no porch waits to greet you, and there is no front door, only a mirror, cracked from corner to corner. It's silvering faded like frost rubbed thin. It's nailed, crooked, into the boards where a door should be. The nails are black with rust, but the glass is cold and clear. You peer into the mirror, and your reflection peers back, late, a second too slow. You tilt your head. It tilts, but there is something wrong with the eyes. They shine, yes, but there's no recognition behind them. As if your reflection had only just learned your name, you reach out, and the mirror shudders beneath your palm, like a pond breaking ice. Behind you, the street is gone. There's only this house now, and the mirror that hums faintly, as if remembering a song with no words. A creak sounds deep inside the walls, a low breath. Wooden and hollow, the house is watching. You press your hand to the mirror once more, and this time it feels warm, like breath, like something waiting. In its reflection, you see a key, a small iron thing, old and simple, swaying from a nail beside the mirror. But when you turn your head, the nail is not there, only in the glass. Only at this angle, you look down, and the key is now in your hand. You don't remember reaching for it. Its teeth are jagged, worn, but the metal thrums like a heartbeat. Soft, steady, not quite your own. The mirror ripples once more, and this time, the glass gives way. Not like breaking, more like folding, like water turning itself inside out. You step forward, and the air grows thin and deep. Inside the mirror, it smells of dust and iron and something older than breath. The hallway stretches before you, impossibly narrow, with corners that lean the wrong way. Behind you, there is only glass, a reflection of the street that no longer exists, and yourself, still standing outside, but only for a moment. That version of you blinks, then fades like steam on a cold pane. Gone. You look down. The key is gone from your hand, but a faint ticking begins to echo. Not loud, not urgent, just enough to remind you that you are no longer on this side of midnight. And the house with no front door, has let you in. The hallway leans toward you, then away, as if it had lungs and borrowed your breath. You hold the iron key. It hums softly, a moth inside a bell. It should be cold, yet it is warm, like something that knows your pulse. The ticking returns, distant, then near, Then inside your chest, on your right, a mirror waits. Tall and thin, inside the glass, a nail gleams, though the wall beside you is bare. From that impossible nail, another key sways. Your key, but not quite. You raise your hand. The surface bows toward your fingers. A slow ripple that continues after you stop. Cloth brushes your shoulder. You turn. The corridor narrows. The dust shows too many footprints. Some face forward, some back. As if you arrived from where you have not yet been. You do not hurry. The key sings a low note behind your teeth. A suggestion, not a command. You match your key to the one in the glass. Yours has 3 teeth. The reflected one has 4. You watch, and a tooth unfolds from the iron like a small black petal. No sound, only the feeling that the house approves. There is no door in the wall. In the mirror, an arch draws itself in pale silver. Inside that outline, a room hangs at a tilt. Dust pooled like sleep. A table waits under a pale cloth. A chair hangs with the memory of someone sitting. The key wants turning. You fit it into air, where the lock should be, and the mirror accepts it. Resistance, then surrender. A sound like timbers easing after a long winter. The arch opens sideways into a space that had been waiting just beyond sight. Cold breath spills across your skin, and you step through without moving your feet. Floor and echo fall out of step. Your heel touches wood, and only after a beat does the mirrored heel behind you agree. The room teaches the slow law of this place. Not terror, but hush. Above the arch hangs a charm, wire, dark thread, and a shard of mirror. It spins only in the reflection. Whatever face you show it, the shard shows its back. The table whispers under its cloth. You lift one corner, careful as a priest. A book lies there, leather that smells of rain. A mirrored plate for its cover. No letters title it. The page you open reflects your face with a familiar delay. In the corner, a thin line appears. Not ink, but absence. Do not look at your eyes after midnight. You read, and the words fade, leaving only your slow reflection. Turning the next sheet, you set the book down, and the cloth folds itself back across the cover. The key warms in your hand, new teeth humming in a pattern you cannot count. You turn, and there you are again, in the thin seam of mirror along the wall. This time the other you lifts a finger. Hush! Breath mists the glass. From their side, not yours. The hum beneath the floor deepens. You feel it in the table, the frames, the cloth, then into the key. The room chooses what will be true. By listening, you keep your voice as thought, and your thought as breath. Across the room, the mirror acts like a window onto the hall. A faint lantern drifts down that narrow river, though no flame burns within it. The glow is the kind moss keeps after rain. It sinks into your bones like a remembered kindness. The house notices that you notice, and the glow softens the edges of everything sharp. You tuck the key into a pocket that is not there. It disappears, yet the weight remains at your hip. The arch behind you tightens, silver trembling like the surface of a held cup. Your reflection waits at the threshold, eyes open now, unreadable. You pass by without meeting your gaze. In the doorway you pause. A rule hums in you. Trust the glass, not the wood. Follow the reflection, not the nail. Open what does not exist, and it will open you. You step into the hall. The breath of the house accepts you. A quiet, obliging hush. The ticking climbs a stair you cannot see, then settles behind your ribs. You trail a finger along the silver edge of the arch, cool as water. You do not look directly into your own eyes. You look past to where the next door will decide to happen, far down the corridor. A seam of silver pulls itself thin, promising a stair that spirals. You feel the pull of that downward turn, a tide in the mirror. Your hand rises without your asking, and the pocketless pocket returns the key to your palm, rearranged. 4 teeth now, or 2. Or 3 in a pattern your eyes cannot keep. The iron knows the house, and the house knows you are learning before you go. You glance back into the room. The cloth has settled, but a hairline crack maps the mirrored cover of the book. Not breaking, only writing for a breath. The line makes letters. The key opens what is not there. Then the meaning smooths back into simple glass. You turn toward the waiting seam. Dust rises like smoke, then chooses to be light instead, drifting toward the mirror as if it were a moon. Your steps keep time with the ticking. Left, right, breath, listen. The rhythm grows tender around you. At the bend, the corridor exhales. Your shoulder brushes a wall that was not there a breath ago. The mirror to your left bows in greeting, and in it, your reflection reaches the arch a heartbeat before you do. It turns the key you have not lifted yet, and a soft, sideways opening appears. A door in the only place a door can be after midnight. You do not meet your own gaze as you cross the threshold. You count 3 breaths instead, and the key answers each count with a small, agreeable hum. What it unlocks tonight is not a lock, but a habit, not a room, but a way of seeing sideways until the world agrees to follow. The whole settles. The house waits. Midnight turns its listening face toward you. You stand very still, feeling the friendly weight of the key and the lighter weight of the rules you have not yet read. Somewhere, a pendulum without hands swings, only in the reflection, marking a time that belongs to glass more than 2 hours. The spiral leads you down, down, steps curling like the bones of a spine. Each tread glassy, slippery, glistening as if dew lingers forever here. Your hand skims the wall, but there is no wall, only reflection. Your palm meets glass, cool at first, then warmer, almost feverish. As if the house has a pulse, you descend slowly. The ticking follows, not behind you, not above you, but inside the marrow of your own bones. At the curve's end, the stair exhales you into a room. It is not wide, not tall, and yet it feels endless. Corners fold where no geometry should allow. Mirrors line the walls, some tall as doors, some small as handheld glass, all tilted at slight, wrong angles, like watchful heads listening without eyes. In the largest mirror, you see yourself enter. A breath too late, that other you moves slowly, catching up with gestures you've already made. Blink, and the reflection blinks after. Step, and the floor beneath you answers with its echo first. A table waits at the room's center. On it, an object covered in cloth. The fabric ripples as though stirred by breath, but no one is near enough to disturb it. You reach, but the reflection of your hand in the glass walls moves sooner. It touches the cloth before you dare to. It lifts, and in the mirror, you see what waits beneath. An old mask, white porcelain cracked in long, thin lines. Its painted eyes too wide, too knowing. But when you lift the cloth in your own hand, the table is bare. The mask exists only in reflection. You turn, searching, and in the corner, a mirror too small to hold a figure still shows the curve of your spine as you stand there. A detail that should not fit, but it does. The air is heavy. You inhale, and the room inhales with you. Every mirror fogs faintly, all at once, as if every version of you had drawn the same breath. Then you hear it. Pages turning. Not in this room, but behind your ears, inside the skull, where memory sleeps. The reflections lean forward. They do not step, but they lean closer, curious, waiting to see if you hear it too. The table hums. The cloth settles flat, and in the largest mirror, the mask now rests upon your face. Though your skin feels bare, though your hands are empty, the cracked porcelain smile moves faintly. Just a twitch, and from behind that false face, your reflection whispers. Without sound, the breath you exhale is not your own. You press your palm to the nearest glass. It shivers beneath you, then steadies, as if it has decided something about you. The hum below the floor deepens. The mirrors bow, ever so slightly, like a court of silent witnesses acknowledging your presence. And when you look back at the stair, it is gone. Only the mirrors remain, waiting, listening, humming faintly with the rhythm of your pulse. The corridor waits, narrow and long. Mirrors along the walls tilt inward, listening as you pass. They no longer seem like objects fixed in place, but creatures bowing their heads toward you. Each step you take bends the space. The wood beneath your feet sighs, and the seams between the boards widen, as if the house were loosening its jaw. You lift your gaze, and at the far end of the corridor, where the shadows stretch into a silver seam, she stands, a woman, motionless. Veiled entirely in crimson cloth, the veil is heavy, layered. It swallows her outline, turning her body into a tall silhouette, a blur of deep red against the pale mirror's dot. It is not the red of blood, not fresh or bright. It is darker, older, like wine kept too long in a sealed cellar. A shade that tastes of silence. Dot, she does not belong to the hallway. You know this, for when you glance behind you, the corridor is empty. But the mirror beside you reveals her still there. Dot, her face is hidden. Yet her presence presses against your skin like the memory of a cold hand. You stand still. She does not move either, but her stillness weighs more than your stillness. Her stillness commands. A whisper of cloth stirs the silence, though the air is still. The veil ripples slightly, as though she has sighed, though no breath reaches you. The house hums low beneath the floor. It crawls into your bones, making your chest answer in rhythm. You are not breathing at your own pace anymore. The mirrors stretch her image. Now she is not only at the far seam. She is to your left, and your right, and behind you. Though you know the space is empty. Every surface shows her. Yet each reflection tilts her veil differently, as though 10 different women stand cloaked in crimson, all waiting for you to notice the one who matters. You try not to stare, but the veil draws you in. The folds are endless, cascading down her body like a river of shadows. The deeper you look, the further the folds extend. A fabric stitched not from thread, but from the hollow between heartbeats. Your reflection in the glass has grown strange. You notice it now. It does not follow your gestures anymore. It follows hers. When she tilts her veiled head, your reflection tilts as well. When she lifts her hand, your reflection obeys, while you remain still. The hand that rises in the mirror's pale, veins faintly glowing beneath translucent skin. The fingers stretch long, delicate, elegant, but sharp at the edges, as though made for undoing knots, or threads, or spines. No hand rises in the empty hallway. And yet, you feel air brush your cheek, as though fingers hover just above your skin. Testing the distance between you and silence, your pulse stumbles. The house hums louder, pleased with your recognition. You lower your gaze, but the veil shifts slightly. Beneath it, you glimpse the shadow of lips moving. No sound reaches your ears, but your bones hear. The whisper curls inward, straight into your marrow. It is not a word, you know. Not fully. But part of it is your name. Bent, stretched. Spoken in a shape your tongue could never hold. The weight of it bends your knees. The mirror's bow as well, silver trembling like water disturbed by a breath. The hum beneath the floor grows into a throb. Heartbeat slow, heavy, foreign. It enters your chest, making your lungs ache with its rhythm. You close your eyes for a breath. When you open them, she's closer, not by steps, not by motion, simply closer. Her veil nearly brushes the glass beside you. You do not move. She does not move. But the house itself leans in to close the distance. You hear the sound of fabric again. A long ripple of cloth being gathered in unseen hands. The mirrors darken slightly, shadows pooling into the folds of her veil. Her head bends, acknowledging you, not greeting. But recognition. The pressure in your bones lifts suddenly, as if she has let go. And then she is gone. The hallway is empty once more. The mirrors tilt back, innocent as furniture left behind. Only a faint sound lingers, the echo of cloth breathing softly in the air, like a memory refusing to fade. But your chest still vibrates. Her name, the one whispered only to your marrow, has not left you. It hums faintly inside your ribs, a mark you cannot erase. The corridor accepts your silence. The house continues to breathe, and you understand that she has not left. She is only waiting. The ticking finds you again, not from above, not from behind. It rises through the boards like breath trapped under ice. Slow, patient, certain, you follow it. Past mirrors that pretend to be asleep. Your footfalls slip out of time with your steps and return there, where the wall decides to be simple. Stands a grandfather clock. Its hood is the color of old tea left to cool. Its face is pale as winter's sky. No hands, glass guards the emptiness. The dial keeps numbers that look inward, yet the ticking continues. Bolder now, as if the clock were proud of having nothing to point with inside the glass. Only in the reflection that clings to it. A pendulum moves left, right, left, slicing the dim like a slow metronome. For moths, you step closer. The pendulum fades when you try to see it directly, then returns in the mirror, faithful to the law you have already begun to learn. Trust the glass, not the wood. A small charm hangs from the case. 3 threads knotted around a sliver of bone. A folk token left by hands that feared the night. It turns once, but only the mirror shows it turning. In the room itself, it hangs still and heavy. You reach for the charm, softer than it should be, warm as if someone had just looped it there. The bone whispers against your skin like a tooth in deep water. You let it go, and the ticking misses a beat. You press your palm to the glass. Behind the dial, behind the pale ring of numbers, you glimpse the edge of a keyhole that should not exist. A tiny mouth where time drinks names, back your key answers with a small friendly hum. You had not taken it out. Nevertheless, it waits in your hand. The teeth have chosen a new arrangement. Iron thinking in a language of edges, you slide the key through the glass. Because the glass behaves like water when asked softly, and the lock welcomes it. Metal meets secret. A notch. A soft refusal. Then consent. The clock sighs into you. The pendulum swells bright in the reflection. Its brass remembers the sun it once swallowed. And every swing leaves a thin line in the mirror. A trail like frost, trying to spell your name. No hands appear. And yet you feel minutes collecting under your tongue with the key turned. The ticking settles into your ribs. A calm animal choosing to sleep inside you. You understand that the clock is not late. It is sideways. It keeps the hours that drain off other clocks. A whisper arrives from the wood. A suggestion that the case would like to be opened. You curl your fingers into the edge. The door has no seam. Yet it yields to the idea of your touch. And the mirror shows it opening a heartbeat before it opens for you. Inside, no gears, no springs, only a narrow well of glass, dark, bottomless, filled with the reflections of rooms you have not reached. A lantern floats there, the moss-colored glow you remember. It circles like a small moon at the bottom of a lake. Something moves behind the drifting light. A veiled suggestion of crimson, then nothing. As if the memory of her were enough to stir the water. You lean closer. But the well does not accept faces after midnight. It prefers hands and the shadow of names. You keep your distance, and the glass approves with a cool exhale. From the base of the case comes a scratch, soft, like brush on paper. You kneel. A narrow drawer shows itself only in the mirror. In the wood before you there is blankness. You watch the mirror. Slide your fingers through the blank, and the drawer agrees to be true. Inside rests a folded scrap. Chalk dust clings to its edges. Beside it a slender needle of blackened iron. The paper does not speak with ink. Instead, when you breathe on it, thin letters reveal themselves, as if written by absence. Do not let the clock show you your face. Not until the pendulum has forgotten your first breath after midnight. You lift the scrap, and a faint second set of letters appears. Not on the paper, but in the mirror that watches your hands. Do not count. Let counting count you. The needle is warm. It thrums like the key. A cousin made for clauses rather than doors. You place it where a minute hand would rest, only for courtesy. The needle refuses. It floats a finger's width above the face, then drifts to point at nothing. The sweet, precise space between numbers. And the mirror nods. A breath passes through the corridor. Moths lift from unseen rafters. They gather where the pendulum writes its slow arc. Time makes a soft sound when crossed by such small bodies. You sense someone behind you. You do not turn. Instead, you rest your forehead against the glass. The surface answers with your temperature. A quiet acceptance in the reflection. She stands several paces away. The crimson veil is gentler here. It folds the color of sleep inside a closed eye. She does not touch the clock. She only listens with her whole stillness. And the pendulum learns her patience. You blink. When your sight clears, the mirror holds only you and the lantern circling at the bottom of the well. The drawer closes without hands. The strap smooths itself flat as water. You withdraw the key. The lock vanishes. The glass is only glass again. Yet the ticking stays with you. A private rhythm tucked under your tongue. The numbers remember not to look at you. The needle rests where no number claims it, pointing tenderly at the small. Forgiving space between moments, you lower your hand. The charm of thread and bone catches the edge of your sleeve. It is a simple thing, and it is everything a night traveler needs. You let it brush your wrist once, a benediction, and you step back without stepping in the mirror. The pendulum swings on, faithful. In the room, the air is still, and you are listened to by wood older than your fear. The clock does not tell you what happens next. It tells you how to wait, and how to be waited for. It tells you that hands would only have hurried you, and that after midnight, nothing honest needs pointing, only listening, only the soft agreement between your breath and the breath of the house. The corridor folds inward, not left, not right, but into a shape that should not exist. It feels like walking through the seam of a closed book, where the margins bend into silence. The ticking you carried in your ribs slows, each beat stretching until it is almost unbearable, then returning with a sharp snap, like chalk biting against stone. You follow the sound. The mirrors along the passage dim, their silver tarnished into smoke. Only one remains bright, a tall sheet of fractured glass, cracked from crown to base, leaning as though abandoned against the wall. Across its surface, someone has written words, not in ink, not in paint, but in chalk, crooked white lines, trembling with the weight of their own warning. You lean close. The chalk hums faintly as you read. The first line. Never face your eyes in glass after midnight. The letters glow, sharp as frost on window pane, then fade back into dull dust. The second. Do not follow the sound that knows your name. As the words reveal themselves, a draft seeps from the crack down the mirror. It smells of rain-soaked paper. It tastes of forgotten breath. And the third, angled awkwardly at the bottom, so faint you almost miss it. If the reflection moves first, do not remain. The words settle into silence. The corridor exhales, and the mirrors around you sigh in soft agreement. You stand very still, but in the fractured glass, your reflection does not dot. Its chest rises before yours. Its eyes blink before yours. Its lips shape a breath you have not yet taken. The chalk lines shiver. A grain of dust drifts down and vanishes in the seam between boards. The rules approve of themselves. You step back carefully. The reflection steps forward. It leans close, fogging the glass with a breath that is not your own. You taste iron in the air. The chalk scrape returns, not just from this mirror, but from many, from above you, from below, from every place. The house hides its throat. Rules are being written in rooms you have not yet reached. You feel them etching themselves inside your chest, letter by letter, stroke by stroke. The wood beneath your feet groans. The hum in the walls tightens, testing whether you remember what it told you. Your skin prickles, each hair rising as though pulled by threads you cannot see. You lift your gaze once more. The chalk words writhe, then still. The reflection's mouth curls into a smile you do not share. It is not cruel. It is not kind. It is simply to knowing. You recall the rules. You obey. You step away. The reflection tilts its head, disappointed. It does not follow when you move. Its smile softens into something unfinished. Then it stills, a statue once more. You breathe carefully. The chalk writing fades. The mirror grows pale and lifeless. Only cracks remain, veins spidering into darkness. Behind you, a whisper of pages turning, paper sliding in unseen hands. A sound that bends itself into the shape of your name. You do not answer. You do not turn. You know the second rule. Do not follow the sound that knows your name still. The whisper presses deeper. It enters your marrow like smoke finding the hollow of a chimney. The mirrors brighten faintly, as if eager to see whether you will betray yourself. You keep your gaze forward. Your grip tightens on the key. It warms against your skin, a reminder that obedience is survival. The fractured mirror exhales. Its surface ripples once, then folds inward like fabric, vanishing into its own shadow. The corridor accepts you again. But something is different now. You walk with rules. They cling to you like threads, tied around the wrists, fragile, yet binding. Every breath you take must be weighed against them. Every blink feels tested, and the house is pleased. You hear it in the low throb under the floor, steady and approving. The chalk scrape fades into silence. But you know more rules are waiting, scratched into glass you have not yet touched, written in rooms that dream before you arrive. For now, you carry 3. They walk inside you. They hum in your ribs, and the house will never let you forget them. The corridor narrows until it refuses to be corridor at all. It folds sideways into a single seam of silver, and in that seam waits a doorway. No knob, no lock, only glass, smooth as water frozen in prayer. You press the key against it, and the surface does not ripple, does not bend. It simply yields, like fog parting for breath. The air beyond is colder, sharp enough to taste on your tongue. You step inside, and the room accepts you. It has no windows, no door, but the mirror you passed through. The walls are mirrors themselves, for silver planes meeting at impossible angles. Each wall a mouth, without voice. At first, the reflections obey. They mimic you with that familiar, faithful delay. A second behind, a breath after, but then the whisper begins. Not one voice, but hundreds, layered soft, as though an unseen crowd pressed close on the other side of the glass. They do not speak words. They breathe syllables, fragments, sounds shaped like water dripping into hollow stone. Your reflections lean forward. They listen more intently than you. Some tilt their heads when you do not. Some mouth words you never spoke. You close your eyes. The whisper does not stop. It grows clearer. It shapes your name. Not once, but many times. Passed from reflection to reflection, like a secret too fragile to hold. The hum beneath the floor deepens. The glass walls tremble, singing faintly with a ringing tone. The sound burrows behind your ears. You open your eyes. The reflections no longer match you. One stands with hands clasped. Another hides its face. Another weeps silently, tears streaming down cheeks you cannot feel. You press a hand to the nearest wall. It is warmer than your skin. It shivers faintly, like something trapped behind it wants to answer. The whispers rise, not in anger, not in pleading, but in insistence. They want to be known. They want to be let through. A soft shuffle breaks the rhythm. Cloth moving, you turn. One reflection is no longer veiled in your shape. Instead, it wears a shroud of crimson. And beneath that veil, the faintest movement of lips continues the whisper. You step back. The room reacts. Every reflection tilts toward you. An audience leaning in, hungry for your answer. The whispers converge into a single question. Though no word is formed, the sound curls into your ribs, demanding recognition. You clutch the key. It hums, but weakly. The rules you carry tremble like thin threads stretched too far. Do not look into your own eyes after midnight. Do not follow the sound that knows your name. Do not remain. If the reflection moves first, you whisper them back to yourself. Soft, steady, a litany against the chorus. The voices falter. The reflections blur, as though smoke has passed across their faces. But not all obey. One reflection lingers close, smiling faintly. It moves its lips again, and though no sound escapes, your bones know the phrase. It says, "Stay." The mirrors throb like a single living organ. The whispers fall into silence, and for a breath, the room listens only to your pulse. You take a slow step back toward the scene you entered. The silver tightens, resisting. The room does not want to release you. You press the key into the mirror door. It resists again. The reflections lean closer. All of them. Dozens of versions of you. Mouths opening as one, whispering the sound of your name. You shut your eyes. You breathe slowly. And you remind the house of its own law. If the reflection moves first, do not remain. The key warms. The mirror door ripples, and the whispers cut off, all at once, like breath smothered by stone. You open your eyes. The room is empty. The reflections are gone. The glass walls are silver and black. You step backward through the seam. The corridor receives you in silence. But in your ears, in the marrow of your bones, the whisper lingers still. Softer now, but faithful. You know it will return. Midnight arrives without a sound. A tide that reaches your ankles and pretends to be air. You feel it soak your bones. A hush heavier than footsteps. The corridor narrows around you, not to trap, but to listen. Mirrors dim to pewter. Seams of silver pull tight like a drawn breath. This is the doorless hour. When exits remember their ideas, and ideas forget you. You test the nearest arch of glass, flat asleep. No ripple answers your key. No welcome. Across the hall, a second seam melts into wood, then back into shine. Undecided, the house folds its hands, waiting. You walk softly, counting without numbers. Heel, board, breath. Quiet name. Behind your ribs. The clock you borrowed keeps a private rhythm. Not minutes, not seconds. Something sideways. Thread rules tighten at your wrists. Gentle but firm. Do not meet your eyes. Do not follow the voice that knows you. Leave when the reflection leads. The light is not lantern, not moon. It is moss after rain, floating at floor height, patient. Where it passes, dust chooses to be fog. The fog curls into letters you cannot read. You stop, and the glow stops. A shadow trying a different life. In the mirror to your left, a door appears and disappears. A pulse of architecture. The knob is bone. The plate a tarnished circle. On the wall beside you, nothing. The wood stubborn as sleep. You lift the key. It hums a thin agreeing note. The reflection moves first. The door opens half a breath ahead. You obey. You do not remain. You step into the door you cannot see. The wood parts like memory, and the cool of a new room gathers at your ankles like tide water. No furniture waits, only long curtains without rods, ash white, swaying without wind. Each length stitched with tiny charms of thread and bead. Bone beads, smoked glass. A coin with the year worn to a ghost. When the cloths brush, they ring softly. A lullaby of small metals. The curtains make corridors. Thin paths that turn and return. You follow the narrowest. Narrow things have been honest tonight. Your shoulder touches a charm. It answers with a sleepy chime. From above, A breath descends, cool as a cellar, smelling of damp paper and iron. The fabric parts to show a table. On it a bowl of obsidian water. Impossible, solid and liquid at once. Its surface holds a tiny moon. Light that should not exist indoors. You lean, and the black water leans back, concave to your face, respectful and strange. In the bowl a scene appears. Not your face, not this room. You see the house from a high dark perch. The dead-end street. The coffin narrow frame, where the door should be. The nailed mirror waits. In its glass the street is crowded with versions of you. Some arriving, some leaving. None at the right time. You lift your gaze, and the scene continues anyway. The water no longer requires your eyes. A whisper threads the fabric. The layered breath from the whispering room. Gentler now, almost kind. You answer by staying silent. The tiny moon brightens. Then fades. One curtain trembles, though your shoulders stand clear. A shape drifts behind it, tall, fine. The color of memory. Crimson considers the edge, then decides against entering. Your bones know the choice before your mind. The veiled woman has learned the rules. She lets you pass. For now, at the far end the room pauses. All cloth stills. All charms quiet. Even your breath forgets its role. A square of blackness opens ahead. Not a door. Not a window. Only an absence hung like a painting. Its edges framed with stitched twigs. Tiny knots of hair, a ring of ash. From inside comes a glow like marsh fire. Slow, sleepy, you do not step close. You let the absence step toward you. It does by growing, swallowing inches without moving. Inside, a marsh under a night that misplaced its stars. Across the water, a house shaped like yours rises and falls like a breath. There and not there, marsh grass carries bone charms tied in pairs. They clack like distant teeth in a kind wind. You remember the hour. It will not allow doors, so you make none. You bow to the absence. A small grateful nod. It shrinks, leaving a safer dark. The kind that contains you without tasting you as you turn. The curtains open a straight aisle. A kindness you did not ask for. You walk, and the aisle walks with you. Halfway down, a bell the size of a thimble swings on a thread in the air. Where no frame hangs, it chimes once. An impossible note. And the corridor you left decides to exist again. Just ahead, you step through. And the house resumes its slow pulse. Where halls meet like lines on a palm. A broad mirror leans against a beam. Cracks web it like winter river ice. Across the silver, chalk letters crawl and settle, writing themselves with calm certainty. You read without reading. Your bones drink the meaning. After midnight, exits are reflections. After midnight, time prefers listening. After midnight, Do not be the first to move. The chalk softens, flakes to dust. The words remain after they vanish. Warmth from a long breath. You raise the key. It does not hum now. It purrs. Content in the rule it kept behind the mirror. Someone steps closer. A shadow approaches. Your step, your height, your quiet tilt of head. You remember the third rule, and let the shadow drive first. When it noses past the frame, you are already a pace away. Safe as a candle behind glass, the house approves. Boards settle like an old cat curling into sleep. Somewhere the clock with no hands adds a swing. Moths learn a slower flight. The curtains in the other room sigh as though a draft has turned generous. This is the doorless hour. And yet you are not lost. Exits are still here. Just shy. Testing your memory. You look down the hall where you began. You look toward rooms that wait like patient wells. And you understand the rule beneath all rules. Do not force the world to behave as day would have it. Let it arrive sideways. Let it open as reflection. Walk as if you were light learning how to leave a surface. Trust what moves before you. Remain only when the world keeps still. You breathe once. The breath returns. Your name stays quiet. The glow at floor height drifts past. Moss after rain. A private move for your feet. You follow without following. Every seam of silver loosens. Not to open, but to allow you through. And the house, pleased with your remembering, lets midnight continue without closing its hand. The corridor folds you toward silence. Every step becomes thinner. Every breath takes more space than it should at the end of the hall. A mirror waits. Not dusty, perfect. Polished like the surface of still water at midnight. You feel it before you see it. A pull low in your ribs. A hunger, patient and polite. The kind of hunger that waits to be fed. Because it already knows it will dot you draw nearer. The glass hums faintly, a vibration so low it blurs the edges of your teeth. Your reflection stands there. No delay now, no breath behind. It matches you, perfect to perfect. You lift your hand. It lifts too. But when your fingers brush the surface, you feel the warmth of skin. Not the cold of glass dot the reflection smile's first dot it should not have. Your chest tightens. The rules rattle like threads, tied to thin. If the reflection moves first, do not remain. You step back. But the reflection does not. It leans forward, its palm pressing harder, until the glass ripples outward like stretched cloth. The surface tears, not with a crack, not with shards, but with a slow peel. A seam opening into a second corridor, darker, hungrier, smelling faintly of iron and ash dot from the tear. Your reflection steps through dot. It wears your shape, your height, your slow breath. But its eyes are hollow lanterns lit by nothing and still burning. You whisper the rules again, a chant under your breath. Do not meet its gaze. Do not follow the sound. Do not remain, but the reflection tilts its head, and the hunger inside your bones tilts with it. You feel your own stomach tighten, though it is not hunger for food. It is hunger for place, for possession, for skin-dotted whispers. The sound is yours, but the echo is not. Your own voice returns to you, thicker, hungrier, asking to be let in. The key grows heavy in your hand. It drags toward the floor. It wants to turn, but no door waits. Only glass, and the thing that wears your name. The reflection smiles again, this time wider. Its teeth are not wrong, but they do not belong to you. Dotted steps closer. You step back. The corridor bends to follow it, narrowing until you cannot turn away. Dotted speaks again. The sound is softer now, almost tender, but every syllable tastes of iron. The words are simple. They are your name, again and again, until the name no longer feels like yours. You press your palm to the nearest wall. The glass warms under your skin. It vibrates with the same hollow throb that fills your chest. For a moment, you do not know which heartbeat is yours. The reflection raises its hand, a twin gesture, but faster, always faster. You are no longer leading. You are being taught. You remember the third rule. You obey. You do not remain. You step sideways into the mirror itself. Not through the seam, but into the silver. It resists, then accepts. The hunger follows. It presses against the glass, its teeth just beyond your ear. But you slip deeper. The mirror folds. The silver swallows you whole. Inside, the world is quieter. But the hunger has not stayed behind. It is with you. It always was. The reflection walks a pace ahead now. It leads. You follow. Every gesture it makes, you copy. Every breath it takes, you echo. And in this place, you realize the truth. You are the reflection. The hunger is the original. The glass behind you closes, sealing both fates into one corridor, where hunger leads and reflection obeys. The mirror corridor does not end. It only narrows until it feels like a vein. You walk it slowly, but each step comes back to you a beat later, like an echo that refuses to be yours. The reflection still leads. It moves with patience, with certainty, while your body follows, as if leashed by invisible thread. At last, the corridor opens into a room. No doors, no windows, only mirrors. But these are not cracked, not dusty, not veiled with chalk dot. They are perfect, polished smooth, silent, each one wide as the sky. And every surface holds you, not one reflection. Hundreds, thousands, each a fraction different. One tilts the head, one parts its lips, one lingers with eyes too still. You step closer to the nearest pane. It breathes. Not fog, not warmth, but a slow exhale of silver mist. Your ribs ache with the pressure of it. You recall the rules. Never look into your own eyes after midnight. Do not follow the sound that knows your name. Do not remain if the reflection moves first. You hold them close, but the reflections know the rules too. They bend them, twist them, turn them inside out like cloth rinsed in black water. One reflection smiles, another frowns, another lifts the key you hold, but its teeth are wrong, longer, hungrier. The weight of so many cells bends the room. Glass groans softly, like whales singing under ice. The sound rolls through your chest. It is not cruel. It is not kind. It is only final. Your reflection, the one that first smiled before you, steps ahead. It turns to face you. It waits. The mirrors behind it ripple like water in a storm. Faces blur, bodies thin. All versions of you lean closer, waiting for the last choice. The rules hum in your bones. They do not command now. They remind. Rules are not prison. They are paths. Paths end. You have reached one. You clutch the key. It is heavy with silence. You press it forward, not into the glass, not into a door, but into your own chest. The teeth slip into ribs, as though a lock has always waited there. The room sighs. Every reflection follows, each one sliding a key into its own chest. A chorus of silent consent. Your breath catches. The reflections breathe it for you. They take it. Keep it. Release it back. AHUNDREDFOLD. The glass brightens. The silver trembles. And for the first time, you move before the reflection. The hunger stumbles. It falters. It bows. The mirrors ripple. Then smooth. All faces return to yours. One breath. One body. One silence. The corridor waits again. No reflections. No voices. Only you. But you are not empty. You are filled with every version that stayed behind. The key falls silent in your hand. Its edges are smooth now. It has nothing left to open. You walk. The sound of your footsteps is only yours. The glass does not follow. And when the house exhales, you realize the last reflection was not a threat. It was a return. The mirrors are quiet now. The house is quiet too. And so are you. Your breath moves without weight. Your bones no longer hum with borrowed rhythm. The rules still linger, but they are gentle now. Like threads tied in ribbon rather than knots. You walk the corridor with no reflection. No shadow that arrives too soon. Every surface smooth, polished, still, like water that has accepted the moon. The air is soft. It tastes faintly of rain, left too long in stone. It wraps around you without pressing, without asking. It simply keeps you You feel the presence of all you have met. The veiled woman. The rules written in chalk. The whispering voices. The clock with no hands. Each of them folded into silence. Their echoes stitched into the seams of your memory. But they do not chase you. They do not hold you. They simply wait. The hollow does not cling. It rests. And it trusts you will return. You close your eyes. A faint glow lingers behind them. Perhaps the lantern left at the bottom of the glass well. Perhaps only your own breath learning to be light. The silence deepens. Your chest slows. And with each beat, you slip further into the kind of dark that keeps its promises. The tale has ended. Now sleep, if you can. I'll be just beyond the veil, listening.